take a spoon or 2 spoons of apple cider vinegar, put it in a glass of warm water, and drink it every day in the morning before you eat your meals. Then it will cleanse your kidneys, your liver, and the entire system. But those who know better, the gurus, say that if you buy any apple cider vinegar, you may not get all the nutritional values of the apple cider vinegar. You need to buy apple cider vinegar that has this written on it, the mother. It must have this inscription on it, the mother. What is the mother? The mother is that essential substance in apple cider vinegar, which releases the medicine, which releases those healing qualities that you need when you take apple cider vinegar. A few years ago, when I was a small boy, I attended a school in Pretoria, South Africa, in my elementary years. As I was attending that school, one day we were taken to watch a movie. This movie was very educational, very interesting. The movie was entitled Savage Bees. The movie was about the movie was about a bunch of bees that attacked a big city in one country in the United States. These bees terrorized the people in the community because people were afraid. Some were allergic to bee sting and all that. So these bees made people unhappy and unsettled in that particular city. And so the experts decided to get rid of the bees. So they called in the experts to come and get rid of the bees. These experts came with the latest technology and everything they knew best. And they tried to get rid of the bees, but the bees would not go away. Until somebody said, there is an old man who used to work with bees many years ago, but now he's retired. Can we please go and call him? And those who are experts, those with the latest knowledge and technology, undermined that old man. They said, no, if we cannot do it, no one can do it. But somebody insisted, let's get him. Maybe he has the experience that you guys do not have. And so they called the guy and he came. He did not come with the sophisticated technology. He just came as a simple man wearing the proper gear, of course, to protect himself against the bee stings. And he just went to the beehive. He asked, where's the beehive? They pointed at the beehive. He went to the beehive. He thrust his right hand into the beehive, pushed his hand into the beehive, and the people were watching. What is he doing? And after that, he pulled his hand out. After pulling his hand out, as he was walking away, something strange happened. The bees started to follow the man. And he managed to get the bees away from the city. And they saw the man walking probably about 2 or 3 kilometers away. And he put his hand on the ground. And suddenly the bees that were following him congregated where he had placed his hand. And he walked away from that place. What did he do? What was the trick? The man got the queen bee. He got the queen bee. He got the mother. And he put the mother there. He put the queen there. And all the bees followed the queen bee. Friends, what am I suggesting? I'm suggesting that in youth ministries, we have the mother. The Pathfinder Club is the mother of all ministries in youth ministries. The Pathfinder Club has been instrumental in bringing many young people to the church. And that's why I've decided to present today about the community Pathfinder Clubs. The Pathfinder Club is the most prominent of all AYM clubs. I want to share a brief history of the Pathfinder Club before you. It was not founded by a single person. Thank God it was founded by a bunch of people, a group of people who were visionaries, who were inspired by God to start something for the young people of our church. The church was youth at its inception. If you know our history very well, you will attest to this. James White was 21 years old as a minister. Ellen G. White was just a teenager. She was 17 years old when these pioneers started this movement. John N. Andrews was 21 years old. Uriah Smith was only 20 years old. So you can see that the church was young when it started. It is young now, and it will continue to be young. So it behooves us to come up with interesting ministries that will capture and captivate our young people, make them interested in salvation, and give them something that will equip them to prepare them to be useful citizens of this world and of the world to come. The first Pathfinder Club of record was in Anaheim, California. It was started in the late 1920s. You can see how old this ministry is. In 1879, we all know these two youngsters, Luther Warren, who was 17, and Harry Fenner was 14. They began the first youth society in Luther's home. Why did they begin this youth society? Number one, to plan the missionary work. Number two, to raise money for literature. And number three, to promote the cause of temperance. You can see these three things are about the mission of the church. So from its foundation, from the beginning, the Pathfinder Club, youth ministries, the Pathfinder Club were started so that young people could be enthused to be involved in the mission of the church. And one thing that spurred on these young people, that encouraged these young people to continue back then, is because the local congregation, their local church supported them. My dear friends, if we want youth ministries, particularly the Pathfinder Club, to thrive in the local church as well as in the community, we need the support of the local church. Without the local church, the Pathfinder Club will not thrive. The youth department will not make it. We need the support of the local congregation. In 1949, Henry T. Berg composed the song, "Oh, We Are the Pathfinder Strong." In 1950 to 1963, we had the first World Pathfinder Director, A. Skinner. In 1963, John Hancock was elected as the second World Pathfinder Director. In 1979, the missionary volunteer was changed to AY. In the 1980s, the JMV, Junior Missionary Volunteer, was changed to Adventist Junior Youth, AJY. The pre-AJY class was changed to Adventurous Club, 4 years, young people from 4 years old to 9 rather. And then in 1996, these resources were introduced: the Basic Staff Training Manual, the Pathfinder Leadership Award, Pathfinder Instructor Award, and the curriculum of the Pathfinder Club was developed. In 2005, the youth department was organized as we see it today, and these clubs were organized in this manner: the Adventurer Club, the Pathfinder Club, the Ambassador Club, and the Senior Youth. And in 2011, the name of the department was changed to AYM, Adventist Youth Ministries Department. I thought I should give you that foundation so that you can appreciate where we come from. Now, what is the philosophy and the objectives of the Pathfinder Club? I believe the Pathfinder Club is a response to two biblical injunctions. Proverbs 22 verse 6, that timeless and famous text: train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. This is very true. I know people who have left the church many years ago, but who are still in the beer halls of this world, singing the songs of Zion, singing the songs they were taught when they were in the Pathfinder Club. They will never forget what they were taught. Indeed, when we train them up, they will never depart from the Lord. Yes, they may temporarily leave the church, but it doesn't mean they have forgotten the church. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verses 6 to 7 says, "And you must commit yourselves wholeheartedly to these commands that I'm giving you today. Repeat them again and again to your children. Talk about them when you are at home and when you are on the road, when you are going to bed and when you are getting up." Moses was saying to the children of Israel just before they entered the promised land, he said, teach these young people to be preoccupied with the 10 commandments, with the precepts of the Lord. And I want to submit to you, my dear friends, that the Pathfinder Club helps to instill the values of heaven in the minds of our children. The Pathfinder Administrative Manual gives us the following objectives of the Pathfinder Club. The Pathfinder Club helps the young people to understand that God and His church love them, cares for them, and appreciates them. This is what the Pathfinder Club is all about. It helps our young people to be appreciated. It is our way of telling them we love them, because through the Pathfinder Club, we give our young people enough attention to encourage Pathfinders to discover their own God-given potential and to use their gifts. Through the Pathfinder Club, we train these young people to know who they are. You will agree with me that today many young people are struggling with identity issues. They have an identity crisis. They don't know who they are. The Pathfinder Club helps our young people to know themselves. The Pathfinder Club helps our young people to be engaged in various outreach activities. The Pathfinder Club helps our young people to make salvation their number one priority. When we tell them that Jesus loves them, and when they see it in real life in a practical way, then they will embrace Christ as their personal savior. Remember what our mission statement said, to lead young people into a saving relationship with Jesus and to help embrace them the call to discipleship. Through the Pathfinder Club, we help our young people enjoy the outdoors, to enjoy creation, all the activities we have, the honors, the camping skills, and everything that we provide them in the Pathfinder Club helps them to appreciate God's creation. Through the Pathfinder Club, we teach our youth skills and hobbies. As you know, we have more than 250 Pathfinder honors. These honors are skills. Many young people today are enjoying life. They're able to do many things because of the skills they've learned in the Pathfinder Club. The Pathfinder Club also helps our young people to keep physically fit because Ellen G. White encourages our youth to be engaged in exercises, to be engaged in work so that they can be fit physically. The Pathfinder Club helps our young people to develop leadership qualities. As we model leadership before them, then they learn to be leaders today and tomorrow. It helps our young people to develop harmoniously the physical, social, intellectual, and spiritual life of these Pathfinders is developed in a very wonderful way because the Pathfinder Club teaches them to be taught holistically. Now, the Pathfinder Club is a success story. Ken Veal, in the book 7 Steps for Successful Pathfinder Leadership, gives 4 reasons why we should consider establishing the Pathfinder Club. He says it is historically successful. When you look back at what has happened in the past, you can see that indeed the Pathfinder Club has been a vehicle that has been used successfully to train our young people. He says it provides a unique, fun experience. That's an acronym. F stands for friends. Pathfinder Club gives children an opportunity to have friends. U stands for understanding. Understanding parents are needed to guide our Pathfinders. N stands for new. Pathfindering offers youth new experiences such as honors, camping, creativity, and other things. The Pathfinder Club has the right philosophy. Remember, we said it teaches them many objectives, many things that they should, experience and acquire for them to be successful in life. It provides a laboratory experience. In other words, through the Pathfinder Club, they learn to experiment with things. They experience hands-on programs and many other programs that helps them to learn more. I am personally a product of the Pathfinder Club. I was taught by the church to know who I am. From a young age, I wanted to be a minister of the gospel in the Adventist church. And it is because of the Pathfinder Club. I was a very shy boy. I did not know how to stand in front of the congregation and speak. But through the Pathfinder Club, I was given the proper tools, the skills, and now I'm confident because of the Pathfinder Club. Now, my wife and I in Pretoria, we started a community Pathfinder Club. We call young people around us to come to our home. And we have experienced many wonderful things. It's fulfilling to serve the Lord. As we gather these children to come to our home, at the end of the lessons that we teach them, they don't want to go back to their homes because they feel that they have learned a lot. Now, how do you establish a community Pathfinder Club, a CPC? Through the Pathfinder Club, we can mingle with people the way Jesus did. Taking the club to the people is what matters. In other words, we should not enjoy the benefits of the Pathfinder Club alone in our local churches. The suggestion we are bringing is that let's take the benefits of the Pathfinder Club. Let's take the skills and the teachings embedded in the Pathfinder Club to the people, where the people are. When you take the Pathfinder Club to the people, that's where the rubber meets the road. People need to know what we are all about. People will not come to our churches under normal circumstances. We need to go to them. Jesus mingled with the people. He went to them. He ministered to their needs. And I want to suggest to you that through the Pathfinder Club, this is exactly what we can achieve. Pathfindering is not an event, but it is a lifestyle. In other words, we need to be consistent, do it every day so that young people can appreciate that this is a lifestyle. The curriculum of the Pathfinder Club takes the whole year. It's not just done spasmodically, occasionally. No, it takes the whole year. In the SID, in our division, each club is challenged to establish a community club. We do know that many of our churches have Pathfinder clubs, but we are challenging them to start community clubs wherever they are so that they can, take this important ministry. They must import it, or rather export it, to where the people are. Leaders and children should be participants in the CPC. Not only the leaders, but children who are members of the Pathfinder Club must be participants in the CPC. Now, how is a CPC established? Now, this is not a prescription, but a model that should be adapted by each church. Remember to follow the wise counsel in 1 Chronicles chapter 12:32, which we read in our abstract. From the tribe of Issachar, there were 200 leaders of the tribe with their relatives. All these men understood the times and the signs of the times and knew the best course for Israel to take. Now, we are suggesting that when you establish a community Pathfinder Club, you must use the manuals that we already have, such as the resources that I'm quoting here. In the SID, we are proposing 2 CPC models. The first model we are proposing is starting a new club in the community. In other words, this new club in the community is not replacing the club that is already existing in the church. No. You are establishing another club in the community. The second model, which you can choose to adopt if you don't want the first model, is to invite kids from the community to join the church club. In other words, there are 2 models that we're proposing. Churches must choose one, either to establish a club in the community using the current club in the local church, or you invite children from the community to join the church club. That is still a CPC. One of the 2 models works for us. The following is a step-by-step guide on how to go about this. First of all, if you want to start a CPC, you need to consult with the church and the leaders. These are the leaders of the church, the pastor, the elder, and the conference director. Consult with them before you start a CPC, because the CPC, or rather the Pathfinder Club, belongs to the local church. It does not belong to an individual. Prepare the parents and the children for this mission. A wise leader will always consult other stakeholders. Identify the community to be reached and inform the community leaders. You can't just barge into a community and start a CPC. No, you need to establish a rapport, establish a connection with the local leaders. If you are in tribal authorities, go to the tribal office and meet the chief, or people who are important in the community. Tell them that we are bringing a life skills program. Don't tell them we are bringing a church program. Some people will be turned off by that. Just tell them you are establishing, you want to establish a life skills program in the community. Follow the protocols that are there in the community. Find a suitable venue for the CPC. A good rapport with the community leaders will come in handy to get a good venue for the CPC. Recruit and enlist interested young people. After you've established the rapport, you need to recruit young people. Use a suitable strategy to recruit the youth. Consult the parents and encourage them to be part of the club. Agree on a suitable day to run the CPC. You mustn't do it arbitrarily. No, come up with a date that will suit everybody, all the stakeholders. Agree on the day or evening in which you will launch the CPC. And when you launch it, before you launch it, rather, advertise the event, enlist the youth on the day, invite the conference director, conduct an induction service, if it is possible, when you are now launching the CPC. Starting the CPC. A CPC needs to be adapted. In other words, take what you can take to the community. Don't take the Pathfinder Club curriculum as it is. You need to take the curriculum, adapt it so that it is suitable for the situation where you are. Some children in the community do not go to church. A spiritual foundation should be laid, but we should not impose our spiritual teachings to the people. We should be humble servants of the gospel. As we approach them, let's teach them about Christ, but in a very tactful way. We should exercise wisdom and caution when we introduce spiritual teachings to the children in the community. Yes, while it is important to teach them about Christ, while it is important to teach them about the values of the Adventist church through the Pathfinder Club, we need to respect other people's religious orientation. Respect for other people's religious orientations is very, very important, as I've said already. The club members should be given only neckerchiefs. We are not recommending that members who are joining the CPC in that community should be given the full uniform. No. In the beginning, for 6 to 8 months, give them just the neckerchief, because the neckerchief will help them to be identified as members of a CPC. Later on, they will be given uniform. Okay? CPC members should not be given the Pathfinder uniform until the period of 6 to 8 months has elapsed, because we believe that this uniform that we are wearing, the full uniform that our children are wearing, means something. There is meaning to it. So if you give it to people who don't appreciate its essence and the values of the uniform, they may desecrate it by playing around with it, in the dust and everywhere, and it may misrepresent the church. So in the beginning, just give them the neckerchief. That way, we're able to identify them as members of the CPC. And later on, they can be assimilated into the church and then given the full uniform. The local church should sponsor CPC members with neckerchiefs and the full uniform later. The conference or local church leadership will determine the appropriate time for the CPC members to be integrated into the church. So that is the prerogative of the conference or the local church to decide when is the right time for the young people to be assimilated into the local church. Now, the CPC program, what do you offer them? The CPC curriculum is an adaptation of the Pathfinder Club program. The ages of the youth should be carefully considered to allocate them according to the classes that we have. Now, follow the Pathfinder curriculum modules. Now, these are the modules that we have in the Pathfinder curriculum. The general aspect, the spiritual discovery, serving others, friendship development, health and fitness, organization and leadership development, nature study, outdoor life, lifestyle enrichment. These are very important aspects. When you look at these aspects, they offer a holistic development of the child. When you give these young people this full menu, this full buffet of things that we have in the Pathfinder Club, you will be sure of that child developing properly because they've received the best training. The role of the Adventist Pathfinders in the CPC. The main goal of the CPC is to get our young people involved in the mission of the church. That's why I emphasized earlier on. The leaders must not go alone to establish a CPC. They must go with the members of their local church club to establish a CPC. Mentorship principles should be implemented. Now, these are, I do, you watch as I do. Then you say to the child, we do it together. And then the last step of mentorship is you do, then I watch. So these mentorship principles are taught to our children when we involve them in the CPC. Welcoming the CPC members into the local church club. After 6 to 8 months, as I said, then we can decide to take the children into the church so that they join the main club. It is up to the church to integrate CPC members into the church club or to let it be a satellite club. If you don't want to assimilate them into the main club after 6 to 8 months, they can run as a separate club, but still supervised by the local church. Depending on the situation, some CPCs may not need to be assimilated into the church, but may be organized as Sabbath school branches or companies where regular worship meetings are conducted every Sabbath. Some places may not be ready for this. Let us not be hasty in making CPC members Adventists. Yes, we are sharing the gospel with the people. We want them, hopefully, to be Adventists one day, but let's not rush them into Adventism. That's one flaw that as Adventists we get ourselves into, of trying to win people quickly. And that's why many people leave the church, because we have not trained them properly, we have not given them the right principles properly, and we rush them into the church. Now, technology and CPC. From the tribe of Issachar, again, I'm quoting this text. There were 200 leaders of the tribe with their relatives. All these men understood the signs of the times and knew the best course for Israel to take. Now, wisdom is needed, like the sons of Issachar. They were wise. They were able to discern the times in which they lived. Wisdom is needed today to run a CPC in these difficult times. We are in the middle of a pandemic in South Africa and everywhere in the world. So we can use technology to run community Pathfinder clubs. Yes, there are certain activities that you may need to have them there physically, of course, following all the health protocols. But if it is not possible, using technology, Zoom, WhatsApp, Telegram, Signal, Facebook, Instagram, etc., we can utilize these platforms to share the gospel through the CPC program with our young people. Now, these young people, they are technologically savvy. Let's use their talents, their creativity. Let's harness their power, their intelligence to use technology so that through them, they may, many young people in the world can be saved. This young man that you are seeing here is a Hindu young man in Durban, one city in Durban. He decided to become an Adventist. He wanted to be baptized as soon as lockdown was over. He wanted to be baptized, and yet he has a Hindu background. We have a club in Pretoria of deaf young people. These are the deaf young people. They joined a club. There are more than 15 young people who joined this club who are deaf. They march in a very interesting way. They follow commands differently than you and me because they have to look at somebody who's signing before them. Okay, you can see this gentleman is making some signs and they follow him as they march. They must concentrate on the signs he's giving them. Now, allow me as I close to share with you a short video of that club of the deaf young people. And this will be my last.
In 2016, April, the Youth Advisory of the SID took a landmark decision to embrace the concept of the Community Pathfinder Club, CPC. Through the CPC, we want to reach other young people who are not part of the Seventh Adventist Church in the interest of total youth involvement, total member involvement. Many of our clubs throughout the division like the concept of the CPC. In Pretoria, South Africa, there is a club of the deaf that was recruited by enthusiastic leaders who went out into the community recruiting young people to join the Pathfinder Club. As we know, the Pathfinder Club has many things that can actually enhance the lives of our young people, that can encourage our young people to leave these things that are bad that many young people are embracing in this world. And so the Social Nguve Club of the Deaf is one of our CPCs. And we are humbled to see how these young people have embraced the Pathfinder Club. And when we interviewed them at the recently held Pathfinder Temporary, they told us that they will never forget what the church has done for them. So we praise God for the concept of the CPC.
Today is my happiest day in my life. I joined the Pathfinders and I was able to march today, and the church donated new uniforms for all of us.
Today was a very special day. Why? Because we got to meet our beautiful friends who trained our children here at school. So we are hoping this project will continue for a long time so that we can improve the lives of children with disabilities, more especially the deaf learners who are part of this project. So we thank the Seventh Day Church for this opportunity. Thank you.
What makes the CPC, Community Pathfinder Club, different from other church programs is because we are dealing with a particular group. VBS, for instance, Vocation Bible School, and other programs of the church are dealing with specific groups. We are not competing with each other. We are complementing one another. But we believe the CPC, the Pathfinder Community, the Community Pathfinder Club, is actually important because it helps our young people to spend time with their peers in the community. VBS is an occasional program where during vacation, as the name says, young people go out to meet the people in the community. But through a CPC, young people are there throughout the year because the curriculum takes the whole year. And therefore you establish closer ties with the people. Jesus mingled with the people, spend time with them. That's what makes a CPC a very powerful program.
Okay, so that is the end of our presentation. My moderator could not join because of the change of the link. So I'm not sure if there are any questions with the little time that is remaining. I don't see any question on the Q&A. Okay, you are welcome, Vicky. You are thanking me. Thank you so much. Louisa Ragui says, how can I do it? As I have shared in my presentation, there are certain steps you need to follow. By the way, I did not mention that there is a tool, there is a handbook that we have developed in the SID to help guide our churches to establish community Pathfinder clubs. Yes, I do have a manual. It's a small manual which we have developed. If you give me your email address, I can send it to you. I don't know whether there is a way of getting your email address. If you can type it there, then quickly I can capture it. Okay, thank you. I can see. Okay, yes, I will share it with the people in Thailand. Where can we get the handbook and manual? Is there a link? I will share the link and the manual with those who are interested. You are welcome. I see there are people who are commenting here, appreciating the presentation. Okay. Okay. I'm just looking at the comments here. Okay. Now, when I type something, will everybody see it? I'm asking the host. Yes, praise God for the Club of the Deaf. We thank God. Are there two presentations and are there two presentations? Sorry, I'm just reading this one question. Are there two presentations and pathfinding included in one? I don't understand the question well, but the presentation I've just shared guides you on how to establish a CPC, and then at the end of the presentation, then I played a video. So the video was separate from the presentation. Thank you so much. We are very interested about the CPC. Please help us to have the manual. God bless. Yes, we will share with you the manual. I will ask the organizers of this track if it's possible to share my email and presentation as well as the manual to them so that they can share it with the attendees. I don't know if that is possible. Okay. Any other comment or question? I just want to do a screen grab of, take a picture of these comments and the questions so that I don't lose them.